Dr. David said that, Dr. Rogers' church in Denver is the model, the flagship. Well, if there's a flagship about diversity, if there's a flagship about deepening in our center, you are definitely part of the top 10. With your fantastic leadership that you have here, such an innovative, open person who senses the development and the growth and where we're going in this world, what's happening around us, the divinity that we get to see on a day-to-day basis, even though it doesn't look like divinity. I just know you are in wonderful hands with Dr. David and his staff, and so I just honor you, my brother. It's tremendous. And we definitely are making some changes. You've probably noticed that in the last couple of years, that there's something happening. There's something going on. There's a transformation of some kind. And sometimes it can be really wearisome. Sometimes it can be a little bit scary, I think. At least I speak for myself. I know you are probably all avatars and have no such problem like that, but I do. But I share with you that what is happening and what we're doing with the Association for Global New Thought and what we're doing in Centers for Spiritual Living and what's happening in Unity, what's happening in Agape, what's happening in the New Thought movement is we are recognizing that this transformation is that which we have prayed for, that which we have asked for. Not the horror that we see, but the underpinning and the opportunity that arises from the possibility. You know, we're between consciousness right now in how we're evolving as a human race and a species in the world. We're caught between two different areas, and we're just in that blind spot while we move from one to another. And why it's so important that our congregations and why our spiritual communities are so attuned and taught for this is so that they can stand up tall with hope and with joy, knowing that we're moving in the right direction. Knowing that there's a goodness that must come from the circumstances that we see, that we get to witness. With the opening of so much of our electronic communication, our technological ability to be able to communicate, we see things so clearly now that we never saw before. It was so easy before just to drop it behind us and pretend it wasn't happening and occasionally look at the newspaper and say, oh gosh, that's horrible, and put the newspaper down and forget it. But nowadays we can't afford to do that. We can't get away with it. And this teaching, our teaching of New Thought, is the teaching that teaches the truth of all the great religions. And I'll share with you, if there was ever a time when we need that truth to come forward, when we need to start practicing and applying it in our lives, that time is today. That time is now. We are the vanguard of expanding consciousness. We always have been. The New Thought movement has always been on the cutting edge of New Thought consciousness. We're not mainstream. As hard as that is for us to accept sometimes, because of course we want to be, but we must always be on that edge, and we are always on that edge. And we are being called right now, we're being called to awaken to an idea that's larger than any idea that we've had in my lifetime. An idea of transformation, an idea of justice, an idea of opening up, an idea of sharing, an idea of inclusivity, an idea of unity. And there's changes that are taking place within the New Thought movement which are being demonstrated on a regular basis through all of our congregations and all of our churches as we evolve into a new way to be able to teach the same truth that always existed. Because we're awakening to that ideal and that idea, and we're beginning to actually apply and insert it and put it into the world around us in a way that takes activity, engaged spirituality. We are the cutting edge of what's known as the conscious majority. We're stepping out and becoming conscious, and it is our responsibility to ensure that the people that we come in contact with are also conscious. Not to tell them what to believe, not to tell them what to think, but to make sure that they ask themselves the questions that are required and necessary in order for us to be able to facilitate this growth that we've got, this evolution, this expansion of consciousness that's happening in the world right now. You know, for years in religious science, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, would say, he would come out on his radio show and he would say, there is a power in the universe that is greater than I am, and you can use it, or I can use it. And that's a powerful statement. And that statement was originated back in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, but we're evolving into a new way of being and a new way of living. And that new way of living now sounds more like there is a power in the universe that is greater than I am, and I can use it, but there is a power in the universe that is greater than I am, and it can use me. It can take me and carry me. It can direct me. It comes time when we have to divorce ourselves from our ego and divorce ourselves from what we think is right. From that limited idea in our mind and that thought pattern that we hold that says that everything that used to happen must be the way it must happen in the future, so that we can open the door for a new idea, so that we can help facilitate a new idea to be put into the world. One that does not include discrimination, one that does not include prejudice, one that does not include starvation, one that does not include violence, one that does not include war, one that includes the entire humanity, each and every one of us, the unity of life itself, to awaken to that. And this power and this that we see in the world around us is nothing more and nothing less than that divine power pulling us towards it in perfection. But we better be aware of this. That power that could be called God, Allah, that power that could be called he, her, that power that could be called the thing itself, that infinite intelligence is drawing us to awaken to our own greatness, our own goodness. And when I say our own, I'm talking about humanity. I am talking about all of us, each and every one of us. And I will share with you is that it loves us so much, it will get to us. Even if it has to pull us through cheesecloth, it will get to us. And so the best way that I know to do it is to step up and surrender to it. To do my spiritual practice, and yes, work on my inner self and my inner knowing, but stop being shy. The old idea was that we in New Thought could sit back and we could heal ourselves. And through the healing of ourselves, we would heal the world. But the problem is that we're being called now to heal the world. It's now is the time. That's where we're at. That's what we're doing. And that's what Association for Global New Thought is about. That's why we come together to draw together all the adherents, not just of New Thought, but anyone who is open to hear the truth, as I said, that has been taught by every great avatar since the beginning of time. It's time to lay down the dogma, lay down the doctrine, lay down anything that infringes or prevents us from manifesting and bringing into being a world that works for all. I repeat to you, it starts here. You are the ones. It's written, those who've been given much have much to do, and that's you. That's all of us. It's time that we really awaken to that fact and that we be prepared to step forward into a different way of being, not just for ourselves, not just for our families, not just for Lake Oswego, not just for Portland or Oregon or the United States of America, but for the world itself. We must move forward, and we're being called to do it, and Spirit is pulling us, and I don't want to go through cheesecloth, so I volunteer. Put me in, Lord. I'm ready to go. I bless you, I thank you, I honor you, and I love you. Please know that.